I can do some things before roll call. So. Good morning. Welcome to the October 17th, 2023 Attendance Zone Advisory Commission. Can you please stand for the pledge? Do roll call, please.
Matthew Tramp,
Here.
Dave Flatt,
Here.
Anna Binder,
Here.
Lydia Dominguez, Nicholas Fadday,
Present.
Diane Kendall,
Here.
Noe Orozco,
Present.
John Shea, Tim Vicario, Rudy Zamora.
Present.
We got quorum. So. Again, we acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the territorial homelands of the Nuwu, the Mopa Band of Paiutes, and the Las Vegas Band of Paiutes. In conference with the open meeting law, it is hereby noted that the agenda for the meeting for Clark County School District Board of Trustees has been posted at the Clark County School District Administrative Center, Clark County School District website, and the Nevada Public Notice website. The Attendance Zone Advisory Commission may take items on the agenda out of order, may combine two or more agenda items for consideration, and may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to items of the agenda in time. So we're on item 1.02, adoption of the agenda. I hear a motion.
Anna Binder, I'll move.
Okay, do I get a second?
Second.
Second by Duflat. All in favor? Aye. Rudy and Nicholas, your vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Okay. Okay, next will be the approval of the minutes. I hear a motion for approval of the previous meeting.
Dave Flatt, so said.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second. This is Rudy.
Rudy Zamora, second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, Nicholas and Rudy, your votes?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. And John Shea is now present. Supposed to be on silent. Okay, members of the public are permitted to provide public comment on any agenda items requiring commission action after staff presentation and discussion by the commission, but before the commission votes on an item, speakers will be given 3 minutes to address the commission and shall remain on topic. A public comment period will be offered immediately prior to the adjournment of the meeting for members of the public who wish to speak on matters that were within the jurisdiction of the commission not listed on any items for the agenda. Each individual wishing to speak during this period will be given 3 minutes to address the commission. Is there a sign-up sheet up there? So anybody who wishes to speak on any specific item or during public comment can please sign in advance, please. Next is item 2.02, reports. I will go to Tracy Murphy for this.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, good morning. Tracy Murphy for the record. The Clark County School District received a $15 million grant from the Magnet Schools Assistance Program to implement new environmental science, technology, engineering, math, and magnet programs at Carol M. Johnston Middle School and Lyle Burkholder Middle School beginning the 2024-25 school year. This morning, we have Cheryl Kogan, who has come from the Magnet office to provide you with additional information on those magnet programs in regards to the task AZAC has as far as dissolving these attendance zones.
Is she the late speaking? Okay, so I go to you now.
Good morning. Cheryl Colgan, Director of Magnet Schools Department for Clark County School District, for the record. As Tracy has already stated, the Clark County School District is the awardee of the fiscal year 2023 Magnet Schools Assistance Program grant, which will convert Burkholder and Johnston Middle Schools to magnet schools. The choice for these schools was based on a few factors, including their enrollment history, academic achievement, and overall with the goal to help to reduce, prevent, or eliminate racial isolation at these particular schools. It is a $15 million grant over 5 years for this conversion. Funding will address personnel, programming, equipment, supplies, and professional learning at these 2 sites. Overall, the goal is to increase academic achievement as well as student and family engagement for these schools. One of the requirements of this grant is to convert both schools to full school magnet programs, which will necessitate a rezoning of those 2 particular schools. Programming at these 2 sites will include environmental STEM and career exploration pathways to prepare students for programming in high school, as well as to offer opportunities for students to continue magnet programs after they leave their elementary schools. We want to recognize as well the success of our past grantees. We were a grantee in FY17, which converted Lead, O'Callahan, and Gehring into magnet schools, all 3 of which are now 5-star schools in the state of Nevada. Some just pieces of information to keep in mind as we're thinking about these 2 particular schools. The current 6th and 7th grade students can opt to stay at the school if they want to until they finish in 8th grade. So they have the opportunity to remain at the school site until they age out. All incoming 6th grade students will have to apply to be part of the new magnet programs. The application is now open and closes for on-time applications on January 9th, 2024. There's already applications for both of these school sites, so there's high interest in these programs. Any new students to the area will go to their updated zone schools. And we are currently in the process of scheduling a community meeting so that both school communities will have the opportunity to come learn about the school and the potential impact on their families for application and students who may want to remain at the school.
Before I go to the rest of my members, we might have some questions for you if you could stay up. So if I'm right, it is a phased-in program, so the kids, current 6th and 7th grade will finish out middle school, with the traditional school program, and
Correct. So the current 6th and 7th grade students will have the opportunity to stay at the school if they choose. If they want to opt out, they will be given that opportunity. They will not be excluded from programming. It's very difficult at a school to increase electives and not give opportunities to existing students. But for the purposes of magnet, it will be the incoming 6th graders that will apply and will be considered magnet students. And then it will follow with 7th grade and 8th grade.
okay. Anyone else? Amanda Binder? Oh. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Last cycle when we did Fremont Middle School, we had a map that showed the zone of who could apply. I didn't see, unless it's in our packet today, I didn't see a comparable map at our first meeting for this season. So I don't know if there's one forthcoming. And then also, after next school year in the phase out, do you know approximately how many seats each school will have for the magnet programs? Because like I know at Burkholder, we're under attended right now, but we have a capacity of 893, where Johnson has a capacity of over 1,500. I guess as the future moves forward, do we know how many seats exactly? And then like at Burkholder, is that going to require portables?
Okay, so I'll take the first question first, which I believe was about a map. So understand, any student is able to apply to any magnet school in the district. There is not a restriction on who can apply. So any student is able to apply. There are zones for transportation purposes, which is what I think
Okay.
you're specifically referring to. The transportation zone maps are still in the process of being created. And when those have been approved by the cabinet, we will release those transportation zone maps. The second question was about capacity. And I think you're correct in terms of the total build out of the school. So when we look at like seats on a yearly basis, there is not a desire to add portables to school sites. So Burkholder will, the ultimate build out will be that, just over 800 seats. So we're probably, and I'm going to defer to our demographics and zoning team long term, but I think the projection for the first year for Burkholder will be probably in the 325 to 350 range, and Johnston with a larger capacity will probably be closer to 600.
Thank you for that. I think that is what I was thinking about, was that yellow highlighted transportation zone. And then I get for transportation, do we know how close we are to having that map? Because we have community meetings coming up that I think it would be important for the families to see where that is. I mean, I think we have one as soon as next week.
Transportation can answer that.
The transportation zone maps are actually crafted by the Magnet Department, so I'll allow Cheryl to answer that question.
So they're under development. They will be released prior to the application closing. That's what we can guarantee, and that messaging will go out to parents of anybody who's impacted by changes in transportation zone, but they are still under development. We did not get notice of award until very, very end of September. So it's a quick process then to turn around and get everything back out to the community.
Thank you for that. Is there, from transportation or Magnet, is there a rough estimate at how many kids we're looking to dedicate transportation to? I'm sorry, I just think this is really important information when we go back out and meet with the families, because a lot of families rely on transportation, especially for Magnet programs.
Okay. Transportation.
Yeah, Michael Demers, Transportation. I can answer for, this is a part of it. Once the maps are drawn, any student that resides in that area is eligible for transportation. And so if they're in there and they can make it to one of the stops, they are able to get on the bus and ride to that school.
Okay, Dave, I think was next.
Thank you for the presentation. The 15 million, is that divided by 2, so that each school gets?
Approximate.
And how many years is that good for, please?
Yes, it's the two schools. There is some administrative fees for external evaluators and grant personnel in the grant, but the rest is divided between the two schools. So I think it's a little, without the numbers directly in front of me and the division of the budget, it's probably approximately $7 million per school, and it is over the 5-year period.
Anyone else here? Okay, Anna, then, okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Then I guess just in follow-up to Mr. Platts, what happens at the end of the 5 years? What if we don't get a renewed grant? Is this now, they're just permanently magnets, and we're going to just continue to support that after that grant period is run?
Correct. So as part of the grant, in writing the grant, there's a sustainability plan, and how the schools and the district will assume responsibility for continuation of the grant. So similar to our last cycle of grantees of Lead, O'Callahan, and Gehring, they continue to be magnet schools funded, by the schools and by the district, by their strategic budget in the district.
Does Nicholas or Rudy have any questions they want to ask?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we go, is there anybody who wants to speak on public comment about this item in the audience that signed up? Okay, sir.
Hi, my name is Flavio Mercado. I live at 673 Federal Street. So I'm taking out my badge because I'm speaking as a member of public. And I just want to say this is a good thing for our community. I noticed that our community has been improving on Water Street, and I approve of this magnet school to be in place. So I just want to direct the members of the board and say that I do approve it as a general member of the public living at 673 Federal Street. Thank you.
Did you sign on the sheet?
I'll sign up.
Yes, so the clerks have the record of your name. Thank you.
You guys want to eat?
Okay, I believe there's no one else to speak. I will then close this agenda item. Sorry, was there more that you need to speak on this item? Sorry. You didn't specify magnet, but,
No, Mr. Chair, no more reports on this item.
okay. So next, we will go to item 2.03, demonstration of the AZAC webpage and AZAC toolbox. Tracy Murphy?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, each year we go through the AZAC website just so that you and the public can be aware of what's on this AZAC as far as helping provide information and transparency on the AZAC process. The AZAC website is at azac.ccsd.net. This is a homepage for the website. It clearly shows where you are in the AZAC process. Yeah, so the big red arrow shows that this is where we are right now as far as scenarios. And the reason that we have this in stages is so that the community understands this is a little bit of a long process. It starts in September, October. There are public meetings throughout the fall. There are public input meetings in the evenings in January. Recommendations are made by AZAC to the superintendent, which is voted on by the Board of School Trustees around the end of February each year or early March. So currently we're in phase 2 of the scenarios. And if you go to the phase 2 page, yeah, this provides information on each of the focus areas, the trustee districts, that each of the scenarios are on this page for the public to review. And in addition to this, you'll see at the top of the page on the tabs, this also links to the demographic zoning and GIS website, so they can easily go from one website to the other. There's also information on this website. Sorry, Steve. There's also information on this website. There's a link at the bottom of the page to the capital improvement program, which the Bond Oversight Committee is very much involved with, along with our facilities and construction departments. So that capital improvement program link is also on the website for convenience. The bylaws for AZAC are on the AZAC webpage. Information on the process and also how to participate, whether it's in the public meeting, how to send in correspondence, and we also have an AZAC hotline. Any questions?
Yes, thank you for that presentation. 2 quick questions. One with regards to the hotline.
State your name, please,
Noe
first.
Orozco. Thank you. With regards to that hotline, is it available in multiple languages or just English?
It's just currently in English, but we can look into Spanish for you as well. We do, however, have 2 Spanish-speaking members in our department who can speak with the public and assist them as well.
Thank you for that. And then the second question with regards to this website, is it also available in multiple languages or just only in English right now?
Currently in English. There's a lot of data on this website, but we'll look into that as well.
Thank you. And I do recognize that there is a lot of information in there, but I was just thinking more so for just families, the information that would be very pertinent and germane to them, if that's something that could be potentially considered. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Rudy or Nicholas, do you have any questions? don't hear an answer, so I will close this agenda.
I need tools.
Now we're on item 2.04, presentation of enrollment reports. And go back to Tracy Murphy.
Mr. Chair, you have in your packet two enrollment reports. The first enrollment report is from the September 1st date, and it provides you with enrollment information listing the school, thereby elementary, middle, high school, and special alternative schools. This provides you with the data on the program capacity, the enrollment as of September 1st for each grade level from pre-K through ungraded, the total number, the state excluded early childhood number of students, and then the grand total. You'll also find in the last column the portable classrooms. Going to the last page, you'll also see the district totals as far as program capacities, enrollments for each grade level, grand total, and total portable classrooms by district, elementary, middle, high school, and special alternative schools. The second enrollment report is the monthly enrollment report. This provides information by school as well, elementary, middle, high schools, alternative and special schools. This also provides you the trustee district, the region, the star rating, the 2023-24 program capacities, September enrollments, state excluded enrollment, total enrollment, and total enrollment percent of capacity. The last column again is portable classrooms, and then the totals on the last page are the same totals, total program capacities, enrollments, percent of capacity, and portable classrooms for the district, as well as by elementary school, middle school, high school, and special alternative school totals. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone on the committee? Anna Binder? I need 1 second. Okay. Or anyone else that need to speak? I'll let her. Okay, now, you ready? Okay.
I'll start. Thank you, Anna Binder, for the record. I have a couple questions because I've heard a lot of outpouring from teachers in the community about the portables, 10-plus portables, 11 middle schools at 10-plus portables, and 23 high schools at 10-plus portables. But when I look at reference material 2.04B at our enrollment report, I'm not seeing like a matching image of where we're, above the 110% capacity. And obviously haven't had time to align the elementary schools with the capacity report for, for example, we have, this is a great one. There's way more elementary schools, but we could target at the high school level, let's see. For example, Cheyenne High School has 35 portables. I know they're not in our cycle this year, and other things going on, but Cheyenne is only at 118%, but with 35 portables. So I know in some of the work that we do, we try to alleviate these schools that are over the 110%, but I guess I just wanted to say that out loud because of the teacher complaints. I did not, I think in the last couple seasons, really look at the total number of schools that had more than 10 portables. And I guess I just want to express sympathy for our teachers who have had to come forward and complain about the conditions in those portables. And I know myself, I have children that have been in schools with portables and they're not super awesome, but I'm just wondering if maybe next cycle we could get some type of presentation that, because I know a lot of that is covered in bond oversight and like CIP, is if there's like, and I don't know, is there a separate report that kind of aligns this data with plans from capital improvement versus just having to pull out their gigantic spreadsheet and look for myself? So I guess that's just a out loud question for next season.
So, Tracy, is it?
Ms. Binder, so looking at the data here, there needs to be a context along with this data. So the data represents different situations at different schools. When you're looking at Cheyenne, they have a major modernization and a capital improvement program, major modernization. Some schools, when they have a major modernization project going on, do not need portable classrooms. It depends on the school, it depends on their capacity, it depends on the availability of classroom space in those buildings. Cheyenne itself is going through a major modernization. And what happens is, right now with the high schools, they take down an entire wing of classrooms in order to modernize that wing. They have to have a place for those students to go. So we bring portable classrooms to those modernizations so that those students can be in those portable classrooms while their classrooms are under construction. Then those students go back into that wing after the construction is complete, and then they take down another wing. So yes, I would agree with you, looking at these numbers, they are a little surprising, but there's a reason, especially for some of these in situations where they have major modernizations. There are also schools that are may not appear to be over capacity, but there are programs at the schools which you may or may not see as far as the capacity, which needs space as well. So there are a lot of programs that are in these schools to help with social needs, tutoring needs, special strategist needs, and that staff needs space as well. So every school is a little different, but just looking at the total number of classrooms, you need to look at the context of what's going on in that school, which is not represented on this report.
Right, so I guess I'm asking, like, I don't know if, like, next cycle we can put like an asterisk next to one of those, or like an initial that indicates it's going through something. Because I mean, even as much as I try to pay attention, it's hard to keep up with bond oversight and what's going on. And I guess it's more, I don't know, because we could go down and ask about every single one, like 26 at one, 28 at another, 22, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying, I guess maybe for ease of reference, a future indication of who's going through even just like the construction projects. Because if we didn't know better and we look at that, we just think, oh, we put a bunch of portables on their campus and so, thanks.
Okay, anyone else? Rudy or Nicholas, do you have any questions?
Nothing on here, sir. Thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. So I think pretty much what Anna's question is, a lot of these portables are short-term, they're not long-term. Like you said, the ones that are going through capital improvements, the number of portables will have, but that's not going to be long-term. So I think that's what she was more concerned about, like how many of these portables are just only short-term for the property, I think is what.
Mr. Chair, the capital improvement projects that construction is spearheading right now are between 1.5 to 2 years, depending on the project and depending on the school. And some of the terms are shorter than that. The elementary schools do not take as long on a capital improvement project as the high schools. I'd be happy to individually tell you on some of these portables, if there's a concern, what's going on with each of these.
I think Anna wants to.
Yeah, I don't want to, take time today. I'm just saying, like, if I was just a parent and I clicked into our toolbox and pulled one of these reports up and saw, like, oh my gosh, my elementary school has, 18 portables, I'm going to know because I'm at that elementary school. But if I'm new and coming to the district or potentially moving and just looking at our toolbox, it's not, the information access doesn't cover these things. So I may say, hey, I want to buy a school like over, or buy a house over by this school. Oh, wait a minute, they have, 20 portables. Ooh, I'm not going to buy my house over there, but I don't know. So I guess it's just, again, it was, and we can talk about it again more before next session. It's just more information, I guess, for families in our community that make decisions based on things like magnets, star school ratings, and health of campuses. So that was just a thought. Yes.
Okay. So close this item. We will move to 2.05, presentation of the 2023-24 capacity report. Go back to Tracy Murphy.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Item 2.05 is presentation of the capacity report. You have in your information, first, the elementary capacity study for 2023-2024. It provides information on program capacity of each elementary school. It's updated annually to reflect the optimum use of each school building, with changes to educational specifications and assigned specialized programs each year. The standardized calculations are applied to each school using adopted pupil-teacher ratios. Rooms are assigned for special use, such as libraries and cafeterias. They are not assigned capacities. The study lists the permanent rooms, pupil-teacher ratings, and 9-month capacity by elementary schools. This report for elementary schools reflects the location code, region, star rating, the list of elementary schools, the permanent rooms, which are the number of teaching stations, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade, Title I and general education pre-K classrooms, special education programs at the schools, total support pull-out rooms, which are rooms such as PE, art, music, computers, literacy, gate, resource. And then you have the 9-month program capacity, and again, the portable rooms on site. The portable rooms do not provide capacity as far as permanent capacity for school. Portable classrooms are provided to accommodate schools that may be overcrowded, but they are not considered a part of capacity. Any questions?
Anyone? Rudy or Nicholas, any questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
Nope, not at this time either. Thank you.
Okay. Anna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, just in a review of this, I guess I'm going to say it out loud. I mean, this is a spreadsheet that definitely shows that, I mean, at worst, our 4th and 5th grade classes are at the 30-to-1 on some locations. But we do not have elementary classes that are pushing anywhere near 40-plus kids per educator, which I guess I think is, if you can just give me, like, I need one example, like here for SPED, I'm just going to go to Abston Elementary. At the SPED at 10, it says 5 and then 50. So what does that mean?
Okay. Can Tracy answer that?
Ms. Binder, that means that for Abston, they have 5 special education classes. And so the pupil-teacher ratios for self-contained is calculated at 10-to-1. I understand that that may vary by the type of class it is, but in general, that's a number that is determined for capacity's sake on those special education programs that are at that school.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Tracy.
The secondary capacity study is also in your information. The secondary capacity study provides information on the middle schools and high schools. Again, standardized calculations are applied to each school. Rooms assigned for special uses are not assigned capacities. And the report, similar to the elementary schools, provides the region star rating, middle schools and high schools in alphabetical order. You can see magnet programs, if magnet programs are included, in-house suspension classrooms, resource programs, self-contained PE, regular programs. 9-month program capacity is calculated, and then again, for reference but not part of capacity, are the portable classrooms on site.
Is there anything else you need? Dave has a question.
Tracy, looking at the numbers on middle school, we don't count magnet schools as they're going up and down? Is there a reason why they're all, I mean, wouldn't you want to know if the magnet school is dropping? I mean, this is great reports, but I'm looking at it like for O'Callahan, it's got NA next to them, all of them. But I know that there must be children in that school, even though it's magnet probably, which it is. You see the NA? I'm on secondary percentage change report.
I don't see an NA.
Oh, I'm ahead? Okay. I didn't, oh, gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
I'm ahead, sorry.
it's okay. We're good? Okay. We can close this item? Okay. Next up, item 2.06, presentation of the hotspot data for 2023-24 schools. Go back to staff.
Mr. Chair, the hotspot data maps that you have in your packets, starting with the elementary schools, this data coincides with the monthly enrollment reports. So as you look at the monthly enrollment reports and you see the information on the capacities, that capacity is reflected on these reports. Each school has the capacity reflected and the number of portable classrooms. The schools that, in the elementary schools that are sister schools, you see the lines, which represents that there are 2 schools in that attendance zone. Below 90% of capacity is in blue, 90 to 109% of capacity is in white, 110 to 124% of capacity is in yellow, and above 125% of capacity is in red. So you'll see on the elementary school hotspot map, there's only 1 school in red. If you'd looked at these hotspot maps about 5 years ago, there would have been a lot of red on this elementary school map. Then the next map is the middle school map, and that provides you with information on the capacities in the middle schools. And the high school program capacity hotspot map, there are 4 schools currently that are above 125% of capacity.
Any questions? Anna?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just really want to commend zoning and bond oversight and this committee on all the work over the last couple of years. I mean, this is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if anyone can see what I'm holding up, but this is our middle school capacity reports, which means we're like so super good. And even from where we were 2 years ago on our elementary school capacity enrollment report, to only see a few in yellow now in red is, I think, just so telling of all of the hard work by everybody. And obviously we know our high schools, but there's so much beautiful work going on there too. So I think we'll probably get into it maybe in a minute, but I think we'll have those conversations here on another agenda item. But I guess I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for their hard work in getting us where we are today. Thank you.
Does Nicholas or Rudy have any questions?
No, thank you.
I don't have a question, but I'd like to second what Anna just mentioned. I think the team's doing a great job at focusing on these schools and really trying to accommodate the rest of the valley and changing the zoning to balance attendance across all of the schools, giving a better learning experience. I really appreciate that hard work.
Anyone else? Okay, I will close this item then. We will now go to 2.07, presentation of the 2023-24% change report. Go back to staff.
Mr. Chair, the first percent change report you have in your packet is the elementary percent change report. This is a result of Ms. Binder asking last year why there was not an elementary school percent change report. So this is what we have for you this year. The percent change report for elementary schools reflects the net percentage of Clark County School District enrolled students geographically assigned by each elementary school who attend a non-assigned CCSD school. Due to the magnitude of school choice options available in CCSD, this report is all-inclusive with respect to situation. The percent change includes students leaving the assigned school attendance zone due to any of the following: magnet school enrollment, special education, or alternative school program placement, CCSD administrative placement, change of school assignment, COSA, or Prime 6 choice options. A negative percentage indicates more students leave the attendance zone than are coming in from out of zone. A positive percentage signifies a greater number of students attending than are geographically assigned in the attendance zone. Prime 6 schools are elementary schools with attendance zones and option school designations or choice schools. Prime 6 school students attending kindergarten are assigned to the neighborhood school in their attendance zone. Prime 6 school students in grades 1 through 5 are assigned to Prime 6 assigned schools outside of their attendance zone. However, these students have a Prime 6 zoning option to enroll in the neighborhood school in their attendance zone. The Prime 6 assigned schools are Adcock Elementary School, Antonello Elementary School, Eisenberg Carey Sister Elementary Schools, Gray Elementary School, Griffith Elementary School, Tobler Elementary School, and Ullum Elementary School. Sister schools are 2 schools that share an attendance zone in grades K through 5. Students are only assigned to the older of the 2 sister schools. The school that shares the attendance zone with the assigned sister school is the sister paired school. That's a lot of information, but we think you need all of that on the percent change report for the elementary schools. Once again, elementary schools are listed in alphabetical order, their location code, the geographic number of students, and then you'll have the 2023-24% change and the 2022-23% change. So you can look at the percent changes. Are they going down? Are they going up? And you can look at the direction that those schools are going. For example, there are some schools with no attendance zones on this report, such as Nevada Learning Academy Elementary School and the Northwest Career Technical Academy Elementary School. The secondary percent change report is the report you've seen for years. This is all inclusive also with respect to the situation. It includes students leaving the assigned school attendance zone due to any of the following: magnet school enrollments, special education or alternative school program placement, CCSD admin placement, change of school assignment. Again, the negative percentage indicates more students leave the attendance zone than are coming in from out of the zone, and a positive percentage signifies a greater number of students attending than are geographically assigned in the attendance zone. The middle schools are listed in alphabetical order. The high schools are listed in alphabetical order, and we've been doing this report a little longer, so you can see from 2018 through 2023-24 changes in the percent change at these schools. And Mr. Flatt, to answer your question, O'Callahan is NA because It does not have an attendance zone because it's a magnet school.
Thank you.
You done with your presentation? Okay, any questions from anyone? Okay, Anna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Anna Binder, for the record. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. I I was really, I guess, super stoked to see these. This is really great data. And then just one that, just as, to pick it as like an example, if we have, I mean, there's well over 40 elementary schools that have picked up children versus children leaving our district. So those are really exciting numbers to see. But for example, I'm just gonna throw one out in case somebody, like, I think there's one that like 100% are gone, and I think it's Sandy Valley. Or no, I'm sorry, there's no percent change, right? So they haven't added or taken away a kid in 2 years. But then there was one right at 100. Oh, here it is, sorry. Lundy, Earl Lundy Elementary is minus 100%. Is like, what would the reason be for that?
Ms. Binder, the reason for that would be in the storm, maybe you heard that Lundy Elementary School
No longer exists.
was damaged and is not able to be occupied. So those students temporarily are attending Indian Springs Elementary School.
Sorry, I didn't know that school by name, so I was like, 100%? Okay, thanks. See, that answers that question. So otherwise, this is some amazing data, and thank you so much, everybody, for putting that together.
Does Rudy or Nicholas have any questions?
No, sir.
I do, like I said, I've noticed a lot of schools with a negative. So is there a decline overall in enrollment this year compared to last year?
Mr. Chair, yes. Overall, elementary school enrollment has decreased approximately 3,000 students, middle school 1,000, and high school 1,000. Now, there are some factors involved in that. Some of the factors include the changes to the kindergarten deadline for being able to attend kindergarten. And so that is some of the impact on the elementary schools. But yes, overall, the enrollment has gone down from last year in September to this year.
Okay, could charter schools also be a factor into that too? More kids going to alternatives to the public schools? I guess Rick Baldwin, wants to speak. I think he can answer it. I'll let him talk first.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Chair, just to point out, percent change is not a reflection of declining enrollment. It's a reflection of the students that are zoned to the school, that live within the attendance boundary, that are choosing through mechanisms like magnet programs, like COSA, to attend another. It's not reflective of what you're stating and asking.
I mean, as an overall enrollment.
As an overall enrollment decline,
Okay.
the students that live there are choosing to attend other schools.
Okay. 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 Oh, and another one. I noticed the county commission at the meeting when they were trying to approve the CTA school, they're noticing a big difference between the transition from middle to high school, the numbers. Is there a big number of kids who go to charter schools or alternative schools in middle school, then transfer to the public school? Could that be the reason why the numbers look off between the middle and the high school?
Mr. Chair, yes, that's a typical increase in enrollments that we see in ninth grade. A number of charter schools are up until eighth grade. There are not a lot of charter schools that have high school in their charter schools. And so, yes, we see students coming back to the school district in high schools as far as ninth grade.
Yeah, that's what I was here, because I know whoever was from staff couldn't answer that, but I unfortunately wasn't there to tell the commission that that was probably the factor, so, okay. Yes.
And,
Nana?
yeah, Mr. Chair, I think we saw a little bit of that pushback last season. When we were doing the high schools out in Henderson, we had quite a few families that were transitioning from charter back into the high schools that we dealt with, so.
Okay. Have any other questions? Okay, we will close this item. Okay, we will go to the item 2.08, presentation of the 2023-24 feeder school report. And then after this agenda item, if anyone needs to take a break, since this is a long meeting, we will, if my committee needs to take a break after this item, we will take a small break. So I can go to staff.
Mr. Chair, the next report that you have in your packet is the feeder school report. This report for 2023-24 provides the percentage of incoming grade level students residing within the overlapping school attendance boundaries, elementary school to middle and middle schools to high school. Included are both the percentage of students the feeder school sends to the receiving school, as well as the percentage of the receiving school total population from the feeder school. Due to the variety of school choice options available to students in CCSD, this may not be reflective of actual enrollments. This report starts with 2022-23 fifth grade to 2023-24 sixth grade. So as an example, the first school is Bailey Middle School. Brookman, as you see this, Brookman Elementary School, 100% of Brookman Elementary School attends Bailey Middle School. That is 18.58% of the population of Bailey Middle School. Secondly, her elementary school, for example, 100% of her elementary school feeds to Bailey Middle School. That's 18.40% of Bailey's population. And this information is for every middle school. And then we've also provided the same information for feeder schools for the high schools. So for example, starting with Arborview High School, 100% of Cadwalader attends Arborview High School. That's 64.98% of Arborview High School. And Escobedo, 52.18% of Escobedo attends Arborview, which is 35% approximately of Arborview's student population. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Anna?
Mr. Chair, I do, but I'm going to roll it and save it for 2.09.
Okay. Does Rudy or Nicholas have any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. I will then close this item. Does anybody need to take a quick break before we go on? How about, let's do a 10-minute break for everyone. So. proceed. And Nicholas and Rudy, are you back on?
Yes.
Okay, so we got quorum. Okay. So item 2.09, preliminary zoning consideration for focus area M1 for middle school, junior high schools. Go to staff.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, what we're looking at is focus area M1. Proposed consideration for rezoning for Brown and Greenspun Junior High School, Burkholder and Mannion Middle Schools. Please refer to the revised version. We had a little bit of a glitch in some of our information, so the revised version is the current version. This is in Trustee District A, and also a portion south of Galleria is in Trustee District G. So, consistent with dissolving the attendance boundaries to facilitate the magnet schools grant application that Cheryl spoke about at the beginning of this meeting, this scenario proposes Greenspun, Brown, and Mannion rezoning. I also need to remind you that what the numbers that you see on this map are the geographic student numbers. They are not enrollment numbers. There's a geographic number of students in that attendance zone. And then as we talked about the percent change report, those percentages would apply to these numbers, whether they're a plus or a minus on these geographic numbers, because those are the number of students at that particular attendance boundary. Those students attend other option choices within the district. The table associated with this map provides you with the proposed rezoning for these students. 138 students from Burkholder to Greenspun, 384 students from Burkholder to Brown, 85 students from Burkholder to Mannion, and 30 students from Brown to Mannion. And this table provides you the grade level information, the race ethnicity information, English language learner percentages, the 2023-24 capacity of each school, and then the percent change for the schools. Be happy to answer any questions. Oh, I'm sorry. We also have development tracking information that Josh Gelman will provide for you on this focus area.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. So for focus area M1, the first thing I would like to do is to go over what you're seeing currently on the screen. I'm going to start with the legend. So for active development, those are green polygons. The active developments have already broken ground and are currently being developed as of right now in the focus area. Yellow represents inactive. These are projects that are in hibernation, and we are waiting for them to start restart work on the project. For future, these are agendas that have been submitted to the county and have not broken ground as of right now. You'll also notice that there are numbers that are represented with a yellow outline. Those are single-family residences that are currently remaining out of the total number of units for each development. And the white numbers represent multifamily residences that have units remaining. Typically for multifamily, it is more difficult to acquire that data because for an apartment complex, you have to make sure that you contact them and get the information from them directly. It's not something that the county currently tracks. Moving on to the numbers that are on the screen there. For the housing units remaining. Let me just pull that up real quick. For Brown Junior High School, we have 4,249 units remaining, with a student yield of 343. This is determined by a formula that takes the housing units remaining, along with other factors such as the housing market, inflation, and many other variables to determine how many students we should be expecting. And that would like to clarify that is for active development. So about 343 additional middle school students are expected from Brown Junior High School in the active. For future, there are 7,505 housing units remaining and 591 students expected. For inactive, there are 489 units remaining and 40 students expected. I wanted to point out 2 areas of interest here. There is a Cadence Master Plan community and a Lake Las Vegas Master Plan community, which is where we're seeing the majority of our growth in the area. I'd be more than happy to take any questions that you have.
Okay. I'll let the reps from A and E talk first. Anna, you want to speak first? Or
Okay, thank you. Anna Binder. So of the 343 students, when are we anticipating absorbing those?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Ms. Binder, we do not have a definitive time frame, because this is looking into the future, and we are trying to make predictions. However, I can tell you that typically, on average, active takes anywhere from 1 to 2 years once it's broken ground to complete and to be fully leased, whether that be single family or multifamily. For future, that typically is anywhere from 2 to 5 years. However, it can take much longer. Recently, just as an example, we had an active development apartment complex that caught fire pretty late on in the development of the project. That caused them to go back to square one and completely restarted the project. They have to get funding for it. So anything like that, housing market, any variables like that can set the project back years.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that in the community especially over the last 10 years. So thank you for that. I guess I'm gonna probably have to make this disclosure at all of our meetings with this regard. I will be rezoning my own children within this. And so in most of our voting, I will abstain because I will have an incoming 6th grader into one of these middle schools for the 24-25 school year. And then I also still have a 2nd grader in this pipeline. So I'm here to do the work and listen to the community, but unfortunately, just to, I think, make things clear, I will abstain from actually voting. And I do look forward to this work because I am, as we heard from our one public speaker, this area of town has never had a middle school magnet program. And I know in our community, we're very much looking forward to having that opportunity. A question that has been answered to us, and I don't know because Magnet is here, Ms. Murphy, if we could get a little more very clear and concise statement about how little we can play with this for future scenarios based on the Magnet grant that was awarded.
okay, you want to answer that? Okay.
Mr. Chair, if it's okay, since Cheryl Kogan is still here from the Magnet office, I think it would be best if that information came from the office that manages the Magnet grant.
Okay, she can come up and speak.
Cheryl Colgan, for the record, could you clarify the question when you say how, just to make sure I answer your actual question?
Yeah, absolutely. So in our first meeting a couple weeks ago, and then in our, we had a Zoom meeting with the schools, the school representatives and regional last week. So typically when we come into season, we start with one scenario, and then we go out to the community for feedback and things like that. My understanding and the understanding that was told to the community last week, we don't have, so unlike when we're just rezoning, because this has to, and the other one, also, so I'll count on someone else to ask that question, but I guess it'll get answered here for Johnson. Because of the magnet school grant that, that was received to do this, unlike other zoning that we do, we cannot stray far from this scenario, or we potentially risk losing the grant funds for these magnet schools.
Correct. So for this grant, we'll start with implementation with the 24-25 school year. So next school year will be our first year with the grant with our incoming sixth graders. So we do have to rezone the existing zones for the school. I think the guidelines in terms of the surrounding areas, really, that is more, I believe, in your purview and demographics and zoning purview, if I understand correctly. But we do need to rezone the entire existing zone for both Burkholder and Johnston.
Is there anything else?
I believe Tracy's going to provide, Ms. Murphy needs to provide other clarification.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Binder. Yeah, so the information that you see in front of you was the information that was submitted to obtain the magnet grant. These demographic numbers and what you see in front of you is what the magnet grant was based upon. So I would caution that since it's a grant and the grant was provided for a certain purpose to accomplish the goals which were represented on these, on this scenario, that the recommendation is that in order to comply with what was submitted with the grant, that this information that you see before you was the basis for the approval.
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Murphy. And so maybe I'm just dumbing it down for myself, but when we go back out and do our community meetings and whatnot, I guess, and just tell me I'm wrong, but my understanding is if I get, a bunch of currently zoned Burkholder families that come to us and say, well, why can't they move the line all the way to Lake Mead? Are there limitations on that? Yeah, I'm trying to think of the way to, I believe you think, you know where I'm going with this, but I don't want to go out to the community and then them have, a lot of ideas that we normally come back and crunch when this is what I understand the application was granted upon. I guess I'm just looking to make sure that our community understands the totality of that application. We need it, we want it. We've got to make it stay, but I know that there are going to be members of the community that are going to push back getting zoned to Brown. So I guess that's what I'm asking for is how much leeway, if any, from this one scenario is the community going to have at all to push back on us this cycle?
You do have the freedom to suggest other scenarios too, so, I mean,
That's not my understanding.
yeah, you can.
Tracy, I think I can answer this. Cheryl Colgan for the record. The grant was written very specifically looking at, in terms of the grant, they would consider the local middle school, so Brown, Mannion, and Greenspun terminology is a feeder school within the grant, which is a little different. I know we normally talk about feeder schools being our elementary to middle and middle to high. But for the terms of the grant, they speak about the feeder schools being the surrounding schools at the same level, so Brown, Mannion, and Greenspun. So the grant was written very specifically as comparison to these three schools, similarly in the north with Johnston with those specific school sites in mind. In terms of moving your boundaries between the schools, that wasn't a factor. But these 3 specific areas were a factor. Does that help clarify?
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, Tracy?
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that comment and that information. I also want to say that as much as demographics and zoning provided the data, which was our primary goal, to provide the data for the magnet grant, the data is very specific on achieving the goals of this magnet grant based on these 3 schools and what is proposed to happen over the next 5 years to achieve the goals of this magnet grant. And the goals of the magnet grant were based on what you see before you. I will also say that this is a positive as far as feeder schools. In this situation now, 100% of Kesterson will be going to Greenspun, 100% of Hinman and Taylor will be going to Brown, and 100% of Newton will be going to Mannion. So not only does this achieve the goals of the magnet grant application that was submitted, but it achieves 100% feeder school alignment for these elementary schools to the middle schools, which is a goal when we look at rezoning on whether we can approve feeder school alignment, especially from elementary to middle school.
Okay, Anna?
And then, so that, thank you, Ms. Murphy, Anna Binder. So the question I was holding from 2.08 over to 2.09, and that causes me quite a bit of concern, is where my family now lands on this map. It takes them out of our high school feeder alignment, which I've had 2 children graduate from Foothill, and now potentially it's removing my younger children from that alignment if we're forced over to Brown. So I'm just saying these things out loud. So when I was looking, and I could be wrong too, but when I'm looking at the feeder school alignment from 2.08 into zoning into this, and it's putting us into,
Request to refer to as your neighborhood or community, not as
sorry,
individual.
my neighborhood, high school feeder. If I look at that, we're going from, let's see, if we go, hold on, that's elementary. Where am I looking? Right, yeah, Brown is not in Foothill feeder alignment. It is, I'm trying to find where it is. Is it basic? Yeah, it goes right into basic, which is another thing we're looking at this year. So anyways, I guess just that's obviously concerning, I know, to my community, because in the housing that I live in and the adjacent neighborhoods are, again, all Foothill families. But we're going to have the same discussion with the community as we move over into the agenda item between Basic and Chaparral. So anyways, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Saka?
No, Orozco. Just to clarify, this scenario 1 is already accessible to the public?
Yes.
Okay. And then just so that I can understand, given that this is my first go-around, based off of what Ms. Binder had just said, with regards to, I guess in the past it seems like we have these community meetings and the community provides us some feedback, and then there's a lot of wiggle room for changes. And based off of what Ms. Murphy said or is suggesting here, is it maybe more so that when it's presented to the community, it's with that caveat that there is some funds that were essentially tied to this, and it's more of a presenting that this is essentially what was submitted with regards to the grant. And so in terms of any potential changes, it's not going to be the same as it has been, I guess, traditionally or historically. Am I understanding that correctly?
Tracy Murphy can answer that.
Mr. Orozco, what I am saying is that what you see before you is what was provided as part of the $15 million magnet grant. It's not a typical situation as far as rezoning, but I understand if AZAC feels the need to make changes to this. I cannot tell you that you cannot make changes to this. What I can say is that it is not recommended because we do not know specifically what changes to this would do to the application for the magnet grant and the intended results for that grant.
Want to speak? Finish up.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy, for that clarification. And I completely understand what you are conveying. I guess for me, the only thoughts that I have is going to the community and saying, here's essentially what we got going on, and then the community potentially expressing some changes, and then there being a little bit more of a pushback than there has been in the past. And so I'm just trying to understand how we can essentially massage that so that when it's presented to the community, it's not in such a way where the community has some changes. And we don't know if the community is going to be suggesting any changes, and if at all. But I guess it was just more so for my understanding, so that when we're talking to the community, it can seem more like a dialogue as opposed to this is forced on you. Thank you.
Anna Binder?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have a couple questions. One, I was on the SOT with Burkholder the last couple of years. I heard nothing of this application. I'm not blaming anyone. I actually pushed back on Mr. Hermes. In that grant application, I mean, I know at least from the Burkholder side, we were not, as a community, notified that this grant was being applied for. We were only simply told that they were attempting to acquire teachers that had like STEM certifications or an eligibility for that, because we were trying to kind of create some programs that would entice our neighborhood families to attend Burkholder. I just honestly, like, not just as an AZAC member, but also as a parent to children in this community, I feel completely left out of the entire process. And then now sitting on AZAC, like my fellow member said, we have to go back out into the community and basically, in so many ways, say, like, hey, sorry we didn't involve you in all of this process, but here's a pretty map and we can't or can't do this. And then I don't want to do all of that work if we come back in February and we just get a stepped over staff recommendation that just takes all of that away. So I want to express that is very frustrating. I don't know who is responsible for that whole grant thing. If it was my middle school, then so be it. I mean, I can take that up with them even more. But again, like I said, it just seems like there was no notice until now to the community that this huge change was going to happen to us for next school year. And if I'm feeling very frustrated by that, I cannot imagine what our families are going to feel.
You have a comment or do you need an answer back?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Binder, the magnet application is a wonderful opportunity for this school. It is a wonderful opportunity for Burkholder to become a full magnet, not only just Burkholder, but Johnston. So I think presenting this to the community should be a positive thing. Now, I can only surmise that the magnet office has very specific guidelines as far as when to share information and how to share information when a magnet grant is in process. Perhaps the magnet grant doesn't get approved. That's probably within their purview as to who and when they can include whoever when a magnet grant is being submitted. But I would say that it is a very positive thing for the school district. It's a very positive thing for the community to receive $15 million for Burkholder to become a magnet school. You've previously mentioned the declining enrollments at Burkholder. And I will tell you that this will help not only Burkholder, but the community. And Burkholder, currently, we've seen declining enrollments at Burkholder over the length of time I've been in demographics and zoning for more than 5 years. So Burkholder currently, they have a capacity of 893. They have an enrollment as of September of 495. They're at 55% of program capacity. This will be a very desirable thing, as Cheryl Colgan mentioned earlier, as far as becoming a magnet school that students want to attend. So I would put that note on that. As far as making changes to this, the suggestion from staff is that this is, once again, this is what was submitted as part of the magnet grant. This is not what AZAC has submitted. This is not what demographics and zoning submitted. The purpose of this rezoning is to provide this opportunity for the neighborhood so that they have a top-notch magnet school, both at Burkholder and Johnston. If AZAC decides that they want to make recommendations to change the boundaries, the staff recommendations are made in certain circumstances to further the goals of the district, to further what is positive for the district, to correct any errors that may have been inadvertently done on previous recommendations. The staff recommendations are there for a purpose, and that's my only comment on that.
And thank you, Ms. Murphy. Obviously, I know how much we need this and how positive it is. I'm not specifically trying to target Burkholder being a magnet as a negative thing. I'm talking about the down roll into the rezoning. So, of course, I support this. Of course, I called Magnet last year trying to help us with other ideas to attract students. Number one there for that, like I said, my statements more have to do with the rezoning into these other schools. So, thank you.
Diane, do you have any? And this is part of your scenario too, so do you have anything to speak? Nope.
No, not at this time.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, Saucon, want to speak?
There's no, thank you, Ms. Murphy, for all that. And I do agree with you that it's a wonderful and a positive opportunity for the community. For me, I do just want to clarify, it was more so how we're able to communicate and relay this to the community when we're speaking with them. But thank you so much for everything, Ms. Murphy.
I think Dave?
Mr. Gilman, if there's a possibility of the paperwork that you have, we don't have that in our records. So if you could have that printed for us, so we have a copy of that, I appreciate it.
Mr. Flatt, we can send that to you.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
And I don't know, could someone offline or whatnot, direct me to where I could see a copy of the magnet applications for the two schools? I would love to read those too. Thank you.
go to our magnet expert.
Cheryl Colgan for the record. To clarify, the grant submission was approved by the Clark County School District Board of Trustees back in May. The full grant application has not been posted yet on the Department of Education website, but it should be very soon, and when that is available, we'll be able to share it that way.
Does Nicholas or Rudy have any questions? Okay, I'll take it as a no, then I will close this item. We will go to item 2.10, preliminary zoning consideration for focus area M2 for middle schools. You can go to staff for this. No, we're not voting on anything today. We're just doing presentations because we're only in phase 1. Okay. So we'll go to 2.10, Tracy Murphy.
Mr. Chair, the next information you see in front of you is for focus area M2 scenario 1. Again, for facilitating the magnet. The
One
magnet-
moment, Tracy. I forgot to allow public comment on the last agenda, so was anybody wanting to speak regarding, go up to speak? I know you signed before, but just update that you were speaking again. It's the same item I believe you were speaking on earlier.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Flavio Mercado. I live on 673 Federal Street. And my community is affected by the brook holder, but I approve of this. I moved here three years and 10 months ago from California. As a GIS analyst and working with the real estate market, the reason I chose 673 Federal Street was because of the potential growth of the city's master plan community. Now, I also noticed there was a lot of flood hazards around the Cadence community, so I stayed closer to 673 Federal Street. I spoke to the Henderson Police Department, and they told me, whatever you do, just buy your property west of Boulder. Don't buy east. But a lot of the people living in the community, they do not understand the future growth. Now, I noticed there's a few maps provided by the demographics and zoning for the future growth of the planned communities. And that's exactly what I had seen at the city's master plan community. As a member of the community, I truly accept this project because of the potential growth. It's bringing a lot of income to my community, and this is one of the reasons why I chose it. Not just because I work for First American, the real estate market, but I chose it because of the potential growth. And I know the Clark County School District is doing a lot in their power to bring more accurate readings on the numbers for the students. I know our students are affected by the school system, but you guys are doing a lot of improvement. And that's something that I also like. I know there's room for growth, and I admire everybody for doing all they can to bring the community up to speed. But I just want to throw that out and say why I approve of this. Thank you.
I believe there was no other speakers for the previous item. Okay, now we will go back to item 2.10. Tracy Murphy.
Mr. Chair, this focus area, M2, is a scenario in regards to the magnet grant application again to dissolve the attendance boundary for Johnston Middle School. This includes rezoning students to Cram, Findlay, and Seville Middle Schools. This is in Trustee District C for Findlay and Johnston, and Trustee District B for Cram and Seville. What you see before you again are the geographic student numbers in the area.
Perfect.
For Seville, Cram, and Findlay, you'll want to apply the percent change to those schools because those are not representative of current enrollments at the schools. The table that you have before you on the next page reflects from this map rezoning of students from Findlay to Cram, 261, from Johnston to Cram, 466, from Johnston to Findlay of 1,015, and from Cram to Seville of 4, which is the area that is just west of the precinct boundary in the Seville zone. Again, you have the race and ethnicity percentages, English language learner, current capacities of these schools, and the percent change for each of these schools. Additionally, what this does is it provides more students to Cram, a greater percentage for feeder alignment of Duncan and Hayden, although that is not at 100%. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does development want to speak on this too first?
Yes,
Then I
they
will go
do.
to the committee.
So for scenario 1 for M2, specifically for Cram, one of the main focuses is a master plan community called the Villages at Tule Springs. For the housing units remaining for that, for the active development in CRAM, we have 2,486 units remaining. For student yield for middle schoolers, it's about 204 students. For inactive, we have 1,573 housing units remaining with 131 students expected. And for future development, we have 260 housing units remaining with 22 students expected. For Findlay, we have, for active development, 155 housing units remaining and 12 additional students expected. For inactive, we have 18 housing units remaining and 1 middle school student expected. And for future, we have 433 units remaining with a student yield of about 28 students. For Johnston, we have 1,442 housing units remaining with 121 middle school students expected. For future development, we have 1,544 units remaining with 100 students expected. And finally, for Seville, we have 1,087 units remaining with 77 students expected. For inactive, we have 10 units remaining with 1 middle school student expected. And for future, we have 356 units remaining with a student yield of about 24 students.
Okay, since this is your district, Nicholas, I'll let you speak first if you have any questions or comments. Did we lose you? Okay. Anyone else here want to speak or have any questions? Okay, Anna?
Hopefully, maybe Nick will come back online. Thank you. So again, this is only being done because Johnson's turning into a magnet, just like Burkholder. And just to clarify, we anticipate the number of magnet seats being available to the school capacity. And same thing, right? Current 6th and 7th graders have the option to stay and roll up. Like everything is almost exactly the same as we discussed with Burkholder.
Yes.
Cheryl Colgan for the record,
Let
yes.
Cheryl speak first and then.
Yes. The scenario in terms of plan for next year, 24-25 school year is 6th grade will be magnet, 7th and 8th grade will have the opportunity to stay, and we'll phase in over a 3-year period.
Okay. Did you need to say anything, Tracy? Or? Nope, okay. Anyone else? And then, do we have anyone speaking on public comment regarding this item? Okay, then we will, I'll give one more chance for Nicholas, because this is his district, if he need to. Did we lose him? Okay. So we will go to item 2.11, preliminary zoning consideration for focus area H1 for high schools.
Mr. Chair, focus area H1 reflects a scenario for Basic High School and Chaparral High Schools. This is in Trustee District A and Trustee District G. There is significant growth in the area. Basic High School is at 120.34% of program capacity, and Chaparral High School is 92.29% of program capacity. Reassigning this area to Chaparral High School would provide some enrollment relief to Basic High School. Additionally, the students assigned to Basic High School residing in the area north of Russell Road and west of the precinct boundary must travel southeast more than 7 miles to school. Chaparral High School is less than 2 miles from these neighborhoods, potentially providing a safer route to school for this area. And on this scenario, what you see is the area in green, which is south of the tract boundary north of Tropicana, which is proposed to be rezoned from Basic High School to Chaparral High School. That consists at this, on this scenario of 534 students being rezoned from Basic High School to Chaparral High School. And Josh Gelman has the development information on this area.
So for basic high school, once again, we'll be focusing on the Cadence Master Plan Community and the Lake Las Vegas Master Plan Community as primary areas of growth. For the number of housing units remaining for basic, we have 6,657 units with a student yield of approximately 845 high school students. For inactive, we have 463 housing units remaining with 56 high school students expected. For future, we have 9,352 units remaining with a student yield of approximately 1,096. For Chaparral, we have for active 1,440 units remaining with an additional high school students expected of 186. For inactive, we have 16 units remaining with 2 students expected.
Okay. So I just want to make sure clear. The purpose of this focus area is to relieve overcrowding for basic, right? Is the purpose of us rezoning this, Tracy?
Mr. Chair, yes. This area is a significant distance from Basic High School. In addition, Basic High School is at 120% of program capacity. However, as Josh Gelman has provided to you, the significant growth in the area, not only Lake Las Vegas and Cadence, we're looking at significant growth and future students in this area. As part of that, I'll probably get a question on this, but under the Capital Improvement Program, Revision 5, there's a choice high school planned in this area to relieve Basic High School with a tentative opening of 2029. So we do see the growth coming, but that is a choice high school included in the Capital Improvement Program. And if anyone would like to review that, it was approved in 2021 at a board meeting, so it is a public document.
So my members from District A or G like to speak first? Go to Anna first.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Just the question on the Choice High School, that is what we, I believe, even talked about last season. We're just still trying to acquire the land, I believe. I don't think that we've secured the land, but I think Mr. Platt's shaking his head no. So, but for what we know for the 5-year plan of schools and not having acquired land as of today, it could be that 2029 it would not open if we can't secure the land like shortly. I don't know, Mr. Platt, I don't know if you can comment on any of that.
I'll go to Dave Flatt.
No, I'm not allowed to comment on it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I just know that we did discuss this last kind of go around because we were looking at the growth in this area, even though it was not in our scenarios. So obviously, I know Basic needs the relief, and Chaparral has the capacity to do that. And I will also acknowledge that we have received some great public input as of this morning on this scenario.
Anyone else over here? Diane Kinsel?
I understand, or it's my understanding through the previous trustee and AZA member, when they zoned, there were no roads taking from some of these students, and they had to put them in basic to solve that problem. It was just too far. What they looked at was just walking distance to Chaparral, and then beyond that, a lot of these students went to basic because the development wasn't there at the time. This is going back quite a ways. My concern is, I live across the street from Chaparral, and is there hope for the future? Because this puts Chaparral above capacity, according to this.
Tracy Murphy, you want to answer that?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Kinsel, because of the percent change and the number of students that have other options and other programs that they attend, the capacity at Chaparral will be able to accommodate this number of students as far as rezoning, because not all the students will attend Chaparral. The Chaparral has seats available, but there are other options available to students as well. So looking at these numbers, you cannot assume that all 500 students will be attending Chaparral.
That being the case, it makes sense when these students are so close to Chaparral. And the only reason before was because of development. I think it's definitely makes sense. They shouldn't have to travel that far to basic when the Chaparral's right there, or they have options. There's many magnets and CTAs and lots of options. So personally, I'm in favor of that.
Dave?
Something we've failed to look at was transportation. Is there, in any of these scenarios, the ones we've seen before or the H1, is there a increase in price for transportation? We have extra buses, or is this going to help us?
Transportation for that?
Okay, Michael Demers, Transportation. Any change in boundaries is going to have a temporary increase in routes as we, assuming that we are going to offer grandfathering our children an opportunity to attend the schools that they were already attending and receive transportation there. But from my understanding of the ones that are presented so far, in the long term, it will end up being more beneficial.
Anna Binder?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If, and I probably asked this last year, so please just refresh my memory. If we're rolling up and students are being grandfathered and they choose to stay, when do we typically know who's going to choose to stay or go? Do students, families typically stay? Do we have like an average on that?
Can the department give us that answer?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Binder, when AZAC recommends grandfathering is provided to the currently enrolled students. Only the incoming 9th grade students and new students to the area would be reassigned each year. I don't know if I answered your question. I'm not sure.
So for the students that are grandfathered and will be staying, is there like any type of historical percentage that choose to not stay and it alleviates transportation, or do most of the grandfathered students choose to just stay and move up?
Ms. Binder, when you're talking about high schools, typically the high school students who are already 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students choose to stay at their grandfathered school.
So is there usually Pretty
Right,
much deadline would be enrollment day, right? Where if they choose to stay in their grandfather's school, choose to go to the rezoned school, they have pretty, I mean, you don't give people a certain date that they, for those students to make the, families to make a decision. It's pretty much decided by enrollment date. Tracy?
Mr. Chair, so the way that the grandfathering works is that you're grandfathering students to stay there. In the past, you have not given them an option to attend another school. You've grandfathered them to remain. There's not been an option included in the grandfathering that's been put forward by AZAC to give them options.
Yeah, we grandfathered, yeah, we included.
It was
Include
grandfathered.
funded, yeah. Okay. Got, so I'll go to either Rudy or Nicholas, if they have any questions or comments.
Not on my end, thank you.
Okay. And then I guess we can go to public comment. Was there anyone speaking? Okay, good. Yeah, just make sure you write down again that you spoke on each item so the record knows that you had spoken for each item again.
Once again, this is Flavio Mercado. I live at 673 Federal Street. Since this topic was brought up about the future potential school and the land hasn't been acquired, I just want to say, as one of my hard hats for working at First American Natural Hazard Disclosures, I just want you to be aware about this location at Basic. There's a lot of loamers that FEMA provided, removing a lot of the land outside of the flood hazard. So when you're trying to acquire land, please make sure that you do not acquire land that's been on one of the loamers, because as we've seen in these last few years with all the rain, a lot of the potential flooding has occurred. And working now for Clark County School District, I do not want to put our district in a potential hazard for acquiring land that is outside of a flood hazard when in reality it's inside a flood hazard. So I just want to put that out for the record. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I will close this item. We will now go to item 2.13, I'm sorry, 2.12, I don't know why I marked that off. Preliminary zoning consideration for focus area C1 for junior high and high schools. Go to Tracy Murphy. Oops.
Mr. Chair, the focus area is C1. There is a revision to this, so please look at the revised information. Once again, a minor glitch from what was previously presented. So on revision 1 for the middle junior high schools, this focus area was at the request of the Searchlight community. It came to the district as a request to consider the Searchlight community attending Laughlin Junior Senior High School. They are currently attending Garrett Middle School and Boulder City High School to the north. Currently, in this area that you see, that's shaded green, that would be proposed rezoning to Laughlin Junior High School, there are 6 middle school students in this area, 1 in 6th grade, 2 in 7th grade, and 3 in 8th grade. Laughlin is under construction for a new K through 12 school scheduled to be complete in the fall of 2024. The numbers on the table that you see, again, are the 6 middle junior high school students proposed to be rezoned from Garrett Middle School to Laughlin Junior Senior High School. The next scenario that you see, these are taken together because they're the same area, however, they're different schools. So the next map that you see is proposed rezoning of the same area from the Searchlight area and surrounding areas from Boulder City High School to Laughlin. There are currently 16 high school students in the area, 7 in 9th grade, 1 in 10th grade, 2 in 11th grade, and 3 in 12th grade at Boulder City High School, 1 at 10th grade at Nevada Learning Academy, and 2 currently attending Laughlin Junior High School, for a total of 16 students. I also think it's important to have transportation talk about this because if there were to be grandfathering involved in this, this would require bus transportation for the next 7 years with 2 buses, one heading north, almost 40 miles, and one heading south, almost 40 miles. And so I think transportation can speak better to the costs involved in that and what the impact would be with grandfathering. And then I'll turn this over now to Josh Gilman to talk about any development in the area.
So for development tracking, for Boulder City, we have 18 housing units remaining with 2 additional students expected. For future development, we have 3,035 units remaining with 401 students expected. For Garrett, we have 18 units remaining for active and 1 middle school student expected. For future, we have 3,035 units remaining for approximately 252 students. And for Laughlin, we have 14 units remaining with a student yield of approximately 2 students. Because this is both middle school and high school, for middle school, that would be about 1 student, and for high school, it'd be about 2 students.
Okay, so yeah, I think you answered my question. So Laughlin, the middle and high school is 1 building. They're not 2 separate buildings, okay? So this is District A, so I'll go to Anna first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was very much my understanding that this came from the community as well. And so I believe it was heard last week as well in our community Zoom meeting with the school leaders, regional, and us. I do not believe these communities are seeking grandfathering. They're attempting to alleviate the issue with traveling north and then back south twice a day. I mean, I will leave it for more feedback from the families, but that was my complete understanding of why they were seeking for us to do this. And then I don't know, I did ask a question out loud last week in the Zoom meeting. I just wanted to make sure that we were not splitting any type of tribal land or anything, but I don't think there's anything there. My fellow board member said no, it would, I believe, be down in Laughlin. I don't know if anyone could confirm that now, but I believe he's right. And there, nobody lives like right here, right? In that precinct boundary, there's absolutely no development or,
Can someone from staff answer that for her, okay?
Mr. Chair, while Steve's looking that up, but I want to make sure that because we're talking about certain number of students, that we're not identifying exactly where students live. Also, there's no indication from what we found that there are tribal lands that would be separated.
Okay. Okay, one more.
Sorry, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Murphy, last time I looked at the CIP 5, Boulder City was previously on that schedule for a new school. I know they've deviated from that plan, but Laughlin is getting a new school. Do we have any status where we're at with Boulder City?
Ms. Binder, Boulder City was not noticed as a school to be discussed at this meeting.
Okay, anyone else from District A or? Okay, then I'll go to Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Transportation in the Zoom meeting, I had requested there was a something about a canyon, and we were going to look into seeing if there was any concern in that canyon. Did you by chance have time to look that up for me?
Michael Demers, Transportation. So on some of the things that we were able to gather from topographical maps, we were able to get for you. You had requested some information regarding the accidents and breakdowns, and for that, we went to our risk management department, as they're the ones that archive that, but they don't archive that data geographically. So unfortunately, we weren't able to provide that. But I do have information regarding the elevation changes and the grades of that pass, and also some other safety and communication concerns out there.
Thank you.
Okay, Anna?
Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Platt, and thank you, Transportation. It also, just because not everybody attended that meeting last week, the community also did not seem to be aware of any, other than like just the general risk of travel, they did not seem to indicate any huge concerns of previous accidents or other dangers.
Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Ms. Binder, to answer your previous question, there are no students in that vicinity of the boundary cut line.
Okay, does Rudy or Nicholas have anything to say or any questions?
None so far, sir.
None on my end, thank you.
Okay, and I think it's pretty much clear. This will make 100% feeder alignment for Laughlin, right, for middle and high school? Because it looks like the borders are pretty much the same. Go ahead, Tracy?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chair.
who's got me? Yes?
Sorry, Michael Demers, Transportation. I did have a question regarding a comment that Ms. Binder had made. When you referred to the community, were you referring to the CCSD meetings that we had previously, or were you referring to community responses that you had outside of those meetings?
Anna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we were in the Zoom last week, the principals that were attending did not seem to have like historical concerns, is what they said to us in the Zoom meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to public comment. Was there anyone? I don't see. Okay, if not, I will close this item. So now we go to item 2.13, calendar date and times. 2 weeks is Halloween, so I know we're not going to want to do. I don't think staff would want to either. So the next week is what, the 7th, I believe? No, that's Kentucky and Mississippi. So it's Tuesday, November 2nd, good? 7th, I mean?
Mr. Chair, that would work for our office.
Okay. And I don't hear any objections from the staff. I think, yeah, we will make the next meeting the 7th. And next is item 3.01, public comment for items not listed on as action items on the agenda. I don't believe we have anyone. I will close that.
Mr. Chair,
Go to Tracy.
is there anything that you'd like brought forward specifically for the agenda for the November 7th meeting?
Okay. I know, is there anyone on staff that, I guess, Anna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Murphy, I think typically by this next meeting, we have, we've just started to begin hearing from people in the community. As I referenced earlier in the meeting, I know specifically one of the emails we received does have a question about Basic and Chaparral's boundary line. But I think typically between today and the 7th, we meet with AZAC and DZG to go over any of the things that the community has come forward. We also, I believe between now and then, we have a community meeting at Basic. There's another meeting, I believe, scheduled at Chaparral. So I guess maybe what I would be nervous of is either of those meetings coming too close to the 7th and us potentially having, well, not having, but maybe needing to bring another scenario forward in November.
Yes, and I believe you have to do it 2 weeks ahead, correct?
Mr. Chair, a couple of things. My question is to get a feel for whether you would like to see all 4 focus areas again.
Oh,
At
you
the
want me
next
as?
meeting.
Oh, yeah, yes, I think we'll just put that on the agenda.
And then our office is we're involved in the meetings with the schools and the SOTs. We have several appointments and meetings set up already at this point. But just to let you know that any changes to the scenarios will need to be completed by the morning of October 31st in order for us to post for the meeting on November 1st. It has to be posted.
Okay, and so, like I said, if my reps would like to make another scenario, they can
Yeah,
contact
but
her.
like I said, again, Mr. Chair, Ms. Murphy, I'm a little concerned that some of those meetings are happening, I believe, right the last week of October. I know that we have very capable staff. I don't foresee it needing a whole lot of time to, if we were to come, have another one to come forward. I think maybe out of an abundance of caution, should we just go one more week to November 14th, just to allow for those community meetings to take place and give staff sufficient time? I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, I would defer to
I mean,
staff.
We don't have to vote for proposals on that meeting either. We don't have to we could still hold another meeting later and then, yeah, we can do another meeting if we want to go to the proposal phase, so.
I guess just at this point, I'm looking to hear from our community,
Okay.
so,
So, yeah, I could say because it is 3 weeks, normally we go every other week, so I think having 3 weeks, and like I said, we still have a time frame. We don't have to vote on proposals, and then it would still give us another few weeks to do a vote on proposal would be my suggestion.
Whatever you'd like to do as a commission.
So, yeah, we can just do one in 3 weeks. And like I said, if anybody wants to, yeah, she told I'm sorry, the 7th, November 7th.
So you're talking about keeping the 7th? Or
Yes, keeping that, and then if we have to do another meeting, if we're not ready to vote on proposals for that meeting, we will then obviously have to schedule another meeting, so. And if anyone, wants to put an alternative scenario, they have up to she said, the 31st. So.
Well, yes,
Oh.
we do need to have it finalized and ready to go by the morning of the 31st for
Okay.
posting.
So probably, yeah, maybe give them a few days' notice.
And yes, on all 4 focus areas?
Yes, let's put all 4 of them on the agenda.
So the 7th?
Yes.
Also, we're putting on the agenda.
Or we're not making the next one, or you want to know the agenda? Just that, and just all the focus areas will be on that agenda, and then we'll discuss for the next meeting afterwards, during that meeting, okay? So got any other questions? So I move to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
By Dave Flatt, second.
Second.
By Diane Kinsel, on favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, I heard Nicholas and Rudy vote, so the meeting's closed.